Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our October Shotsuki Hoyo Memorial Service. Today's service honors family members and friends whose anniversary of their passing is in the month of October. We honor their memory at this special time. Today's service will be officiated by our supervising minister, Reverend Dennis Fujimoto from the Buddhist Temple of Amida. Let us begin with quiet meditation. Please sit quietly and place your hands together in gasho. Sensei will ring the bell to begin and end the meditation.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please stand for the opening gatha, Amida's gift, on page 94 in the Brown Book. Standing for the reading of the Threefold Refuge on page 10 in the Purple Book. Difficult is it to receive a human form, now we are letting it. Difficult is it to hear the Dharma of the Buddha, now we hear it. If we do not cross over the truth in the present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us, with sincerity and true reverence, take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together with all sentient beings, awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed intent of Amida Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together with all sentient beings, enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like the wisdom of ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together with all sentient beings, become units in true accord, in harmony with all things. The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. The names of the Shotsuki Hoyo honorees for this month will now be read. Those family members and friends observing Shotsuki Hoyo, please come forward to Oshoko during the reading of the names. Teruichi Ashie, Soya Fujihara, Michio Fujimura, Jio Yasuma, Eka Kimura, Kie Kimura, Shoichi Kobayashi, Tomotaro Kobuke, Fusa Matsuda, Chisa Nakagawa, Imi Nishikawa, Haneko Noguchi, Seeji Okura, Seiichi Oniishi, Shotaro Otani, Harue Otani, Jintaro Otani, Tom Shimazu, Helen Kim, Isako Yoshimura, Henry Arashia, Jinichi Sugioka, Katsuzo Somoto, Soyamasu Ushimi, Hisaichi Yamamoto, Ukihachi Yasuda, Keku Yonimura, Ted Tetsuo Namba, Katsuzo Matoba, Hiromu John Nakagawa, Satoru Jack Otani, Raymond Morita, Henry Hamamoto, Sadako Fujita, Reverend Hiroshi Abiko, Alice Sugiyama, Sakee Curly Ishizu, Alice Shimazu, Wilder Bentley, Marlon Shimizu, Masaji Tujihara, Hayue Tsujihara, Ken Atagawa, Masako Matsumoto, Dorothy Masako Ono. Sensei will now offer Samujo, page 24 of the Purple Book, and then Sutra chanting. He'll be chanting Amida Kyo, page 103 to 113, all in the Purple Book. So page 24 for Samujo, and then 103 to 113 for Amida Kyo.
occasion of the Shotsuki service for the month of October, members of our temple families have reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of their beloved. With deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida, we reaffirm the three homages. Namo Butsu, Namo Ho, Namo So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. 六将軍武者理法義部国土調査天学黄金日昼夜六時二遊曼荼羅渓広告修上上位小丹百人英国上修行家無用打法十万六仏即位直次元道本国本直上行者理法極楽極道九如世空六将軍武士者理法異国上部修十企業座敷市長学校弱法者理家業民が無用市長聖書宗長小や六時水和平本法門延長合根合力死亡大分圧勝道文納税東方合同修上門税恩に開出念仏念法念僧者理法の持意思長実税裁法少々小医者が二部国土部三幕衆者理法五部国土総務三幕同士名家教実税少中長改正阿弥陀仏力量法安泉流因縁調査者理の異部国土未復水道小法五十九法ナモ追認妙門二四百千十学同時空三門税四者開示念上念仏念法念僧死心者理法国土長寿行税空六将軍
We will now listen to a message, a Dharma message from Reverend Fujimura.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see everyone here. Cooking together. nice and hot. So it's been a busy weekend. The BCA Federation of Buddhist Women's Association had their conference this weekend in San Jose. So very nice. I just went yesterday with a few of us, and others went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I think the closing service was at the San Jose Butsu. So they went from the DoubleTree Hotel to the Butsu to have their closing service. And let's see, from Alameda there were 7 of us, including Charmin and myself, and from Enmanji there were 5 of us, including Charmin and myself. And I'm inflating the numbers because I'm counting us for each temple, so it makes it sound better for our temples, right? Yeah, but he said it's the first time they've had an in-person FBWA since 2018, so it's been quite a while, and people really felt good, just to be able to see each other again. And that's always the case when we have the national meetings and finally getting back together, seeing friends from other areas and other temples, and not only friends but sometimes family connections. So a lot of the conference setting gets to be like family reunion time. So it's very nice to see people from all over and sharing the traditions that we do share as being Shin Buddhist. So yeah, I'm very happy to escape San Jose and to be able to come here today. So today is also our Shotsuki service here, very meaningful service. So a lot of people were able to come up to Oshoko, remembering people that they have lost in their families, and it's always very touching to see the families gather, encouraging each other to come and join in and support. So it's always touching for me to be able to see them. So today I have a Jataka tale to tell you. One of my favorite Jataka tales, and oftentimes the Jataka tales are they didn't think the Buddha could just have one life, so they tell these stories about previous lives of the Buddha. Okay, so they thought he couldn't possibly become enlightened in one lifetime, so he must have had previous lives where he improved himself. And so these past stories, you might hear the story beginning, once upon a time the Buddha was a rabbit, or there was an occasion when the Buddha lived the life of a deer, and so introducing him as a different being. And so we'd have many stories, and sometimes I think there's like 540 Jataka tales, and living different lives, and usually it's about becoming more and more compassionate, understanding and aware of the people you live with, and how to show your compassion, how to share your compassion with others. And so these would be the Jataka tales, and sometimes they would not just children's stories, but sometimes they're giving their lives, they're giving a limb to let a tiger live or something like this. So many of them are, because they're animal stories, you think they're children's stories, but it's not always the case. Sometimes you'll read a Jataka tale and you say, oh, can I tell this even to the adults? And so you kind of hesitate, what is the message here? Should I share this or not? But a lot of the themes are about animal lives, and you might hear the same story in Aesop's fables. You might hear the similar stories of long ago in China, or of Japanese folktale. And so these stories would carry on from early days in Buddhism and go into other cultures and be utilized to teach people how it is better to be a compassionate being and things like this, okay? So at the same time, we just started from Alameda, spring and fall. We have our Buddhist Education Committee, and we have these classes. So last Thursday was the first class, and the next 3 Thursday evenings we have this Zoom class on Buddhism. And so I think when you look at the Jataka tales, you get a flavor of early Buddhism, and they'll, by showing you the examples of how the Buddha lived and practices of compassion, people come to practice it and become better human beings. Okay? And for example, here we might learn about the 6 paramitas. In general, we think if we practice the 6 paramitas, we will improve as better human beings, more compassionate towards each other, and living a better life, making all of society a better place to be. Okay, and so if we were to practice this, it's different. So you get a flavor of early Buddhism, improving ourselves, and Shindan Shonin's Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. He's telling us that even when we try to practice these things, it's still tainted with our self-centeredness, right? Our ego self. So when we read different versions of the 3 churches, every week we might read this, and it's telling us not to be so self-focused, self-centered, okay? And this is in acknowledgement of how our ego causes the suffering in our lives, okay? So even when we're trying to practice to be better human beings, we're practicing through ego. So, I should act a little better. I should be a little bit more compassionate. I should be a little bit more understanding. And you try to improve yourself. So that's still ego-centered, right? Maybe you live a little bit more smoother life, but it's not pure compassion. It's my version of compassion, my version of improving the self. Okay? So in Shin Buddhism, it's this recognition of how deep that ego-centeredness is. Even when I try to be good, it's still my ego, right? So he's pointing this out, and as we come to see this, then we see just how deeply rooted my self-centeredness is. And the more we see how deeply rooted it is, then we acknowledge this other sense, karmic body all around us that we might call enlightenment, we might call Amida. Amida is reaching out to us. Right? So lots of times they'll say, you can't pick yourself up by your own bootstraps, right? No matter how much you pull, the gravity keeps you down. It's just like fruitless. And this is how the ego is. No matter how much we try, it's still there. And so this is Shin Buddhist understanding. So when we practice and we think we're getting better, improving ourselves, are we getting closer to enlightenment? Are we getting closer to awakening? And Shindan would say no. Okay. So no matter how hard we try, it's still an ego-centered effort. So he said, notice that. And so if we are able to notice that, then we can recognize beyond ourselves infinite wisdom and compassion coming towards us. So it's a different version of Buddhism, radically different version of Buddhism that Shindan Shonin is providing. Okay? So with that perspective, now I'll share the Jataka tale and then see if you could tell the difference between this earlier Buddhism and Shindan Shonin's Nembutsu Buddhism. Okay? So once the Buddha lived a life of a monkey king. Okay? So the monkey king was the leader of this large group of monkeys. 80,000 monkeys would follow him. He'd be very compassionate, very understanding, and looking out for the well-being, the welfare of his whole sangha of monkeys. Okay? And so they lived in this jungle in the Himalayan mountains, and so they would live happily. And there were a few mango trees, and a lot of them grew to huge, huge trees.
with giant mangoes on there. And so the Monkey King, he was enjoying one of the mangoes, and it's just so delicious, so sweet that he's enjoying it. All the monkeys are climbing the trees, picking these giant mangoes and eating them. And the Monkey King saw one fall into the river, and he noticed that. So he went down to the riverbank, and as it was getting closer, he grabbed that fruit and picked it up. Down, beings are living. They'll come back up this way looking for the mangoes, and they'll take over our tree. Right? So all the monkeys listen to the Monkey King, and we're trying to be very, very careful. So they're protective of where they would fall, make sure they don't let any slip by in the river. But finally, one of the large mangoes fell into the river. None of the monkeys noticed, and it's floating down. And the human king was in the river, a couple miles down, maybe more. And he saw this giant mango floating towards him. So, wow, what is that? So it's beautiful, ripe mango. And he noticed it right away, just like Momotaro's story, right? This giant mango is coming down the stream, and he cut it open and he's eating it, and it's sweet, just so sweet. And he thought, wow, this is really something. So he told his followers, go upstream, there must be a tree. Go find that tree. It should be our tree in our land, so we'll go find it. And so he had a party go up the stream, and they found a big mango tree. And there's also thousands of monkeys all living nearby, climbing the tree and enjoying the mangoes. So the king ordered them, take over that tree. This is our land, that's our tree. Kill all those monkeys. So the archers came, and the monkeys are screaming and trying to get away, and some of them are trying to jump too far and falling to the ground. Others are getting hit by arrows and getting killed. And so the Monkey King is watching all this going on, complete turmoil in his kingdom. So he told them, I'll help us get out of this. Just follow me. Follow me. So he stayed calm, and he went to an edge where he could barely reach the other side, where they could get to safety. And he stretched out his body to stay on this shore and to grab the rocks on the other shore. Now, run over my back and run to safety. So they all ran over the king's back and made it to safety. Okay, so thousands and thousands of monkeys are using the king as a bridge and getting to safety. And the human king saw that, and he's watching. So he thought, wow, look at the Monkey King. And just so impressed that he was so concerned about all his following monkeys and trying to save them, trying to help them, trying to let them find a way to be okay again. And he was just impressed that he was just looking out for himself. Basically, he didn't really think about sharing all the fruit with his kingdom. He wanted those for himself. He wanted more land, more property. So this is how he was thinking. But he noticed the Monkey King, and so he was impressed with what the Monkey King was doing. So afterwards, he helped the Monkey King to get better. And as he was doing that, he was able to share time and talk to the Monkey King, and he kind of understood that he cared so much about all of them, and he finally thought this would be a better way for him to be as well. So he started to share everything with his followers. He tried to look out for them, not only for himself. Right? And he wanted to share the resources, let the monkeys have some area, and so they could live in harmony. And so this is how they were able to resolve, and he had such a deep, deep admiration and respect for this Monkey King. So in that story, it's kind of like the human king is looking at the Monkey King like we would look at the six paramitas how to improve ourselves, to live a smoother life, a better life, helping our parents, our children, our friends, just making our Sangha, our temple, our community a little bit better, a little bit smoother. And so, but still, the human king is trying to improve himself. Even though he's getting better, it's still like, I want to be better. I want to live a better life. I want to be more appreciated and respected. So it's still his ego. Even though he's improving, it's still his ego-centeredness that wants to get more recognition, wants others to notice that he's better. Okay? He's living a better life, but still it's self-centered. So Shinran would say he is still ego-centered. And if he notices his ego is still there, then there may be a crack in that ego. Maybe this other centered rather than self-centered will be able to enter. Okay? So this Butsu we practice allows other to enter. We don't get wiser and wiser and smarter. Through this experience of recognizing our ego, it cracks open and other-centeredness enters. So the different perspective of earlier Buddhism, improving the self, and different. Shinran's perspective is different, radically different. And we should know that, we should recognize that, we should see how this happens and how we are all evolving in the same manner. Okay? So little by little, we crack this shell and we open to other. And through that, we're able to grow and grow and grow. So it's incomplete. It's always evolving, but incomplete until we die. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. Please stand for the closing gatha on page 138 in the Brown Book, Notori Yogi, 138 in the Brown Book. Please be seated. Are there any announcements? Thank you, Reverend Fujimoto, for the Dharma talk today. Thank you to the October Toban for the Onaijin and the setup of the offerings. Thank you to Kent Matsuda for the organist. And thank you for the October Toban for all the offerings. Also, if you haven't had a chance to do Oshoko, please do so before leaving the home. Light refreshments will be served in the hall, and thank you for attending today's Shotsuki Hoyo service.